Jimbo's Garage.
All right, well, thanks for joining me on part 2 of this balloon cart. This is actually just wrapping this up. I got a little bit of woodwork to do on the cart itself, and this is a cover that's going to be going on the top. They're going to later take this cover off and actually use this cart as some yard art. It's going to be a planter, if you will, and it's just sit on their patio. It's going to look pretty nice. But meanwhile, we got to get a top on this thing. They're going to be using this as a serving tray type of thing. So I've just got some 1x10 poplar here, 3/4 inch thick. It is going to be painted white, and I'm just slicing it up. I'm going to glue these pieces together. It's going to create the top. You can see that I've even broke out my Bosch compound miter saw for this one. I don't do a lot of woodwork, and so I have this thing tucked under my bench there, but brought it out for this particular project. All right, so trying to glue everything together, and that's all I'm going to do is just glue it. I'm going to clamp it, but you know, my inexperience woodworking, you know, I struggle sometimes with some of this stuff. You can see that I'm battling these clamps like I always do, and should have put the clamps on the bottom first, but I'm struggling. I ended up getting it where it needed to be, and then, well, problem. Anyways, got everything situated back and got squared away. I got everything clamped down and left it for about 4 or 5 hours to dry. All right, just got my belt sander out, and the idea here is to just sand everything down. I'm trying to get this thing to look like one solid piece of board. It's going to be painted white, and I didn't want to use plywood because I just like that. I like the edge look on this, and I just thought that this is just a better look. So after sanding it down and going through a few grits with the orbital sander there, I grabbed the router and got a 1/4 inch round over bit on this and went around both sides and softened up the edge right there. All right, so now it's time to get some side pieces and a back piece on, and I cut the boards out here, and now the idea is to just, I don't want to have anything square. I want to have a little design to it, so I sketched out a little radius or a little design, if you will, on the board, and this is what I use. I just duplicated it with another one, and I got the 2 pieces there, and I'm just kind of sanding that down a little bit, smoothing it up a little. And for the back piece, again, I just freehanded a little sketch on there, a little round radius at the top right here, and I took the leftover board right there that I cut and used that for the other side to be sure I was nice and square and looked the same. And once I got that cut out, you can see it came to a point right here, and I don't know, I don't have the footage, but I ended up rounding off that. It looks nice and sharp right there, but I ended up rounding that off and cleaning that up, and that's what it looks like right there. And just a sander to get some of the rough edges off. And then for both pieces, I just got that router and went around and put that quarter rounding over bit on all the pieces all the way around. It kind of cleaned things up really nice and softened up the edges, and it was a pretty good look. And then once I got that all done, it was time for a little bit of assembly right here. And it's just a matter of just gluing up the pieces, front, back, and sides. I get the glue on the right part of the wood here. And then I just clamped everything together with a pipe clamp front and back and be sure everything was nice and square. Once I got that done, and just grabbed my finish nailer and just put a few nails in all the way around. And then let that sit for a few hours. And, I decided that I wanted to make like a little frame on the bottom part of this door just to hold it in the center of the cart. When it sits on top of the cart, I didn't want it to move around, so I thought that this would be a good idea to put a frame on the inside to kind of lock it into place once it drops in. And that's one of the reasons. The other reason is it just added a little bit of strength to my glued boards, if you will, on the bottom to help keep them held together. And then just glued and tacked everything or nailed everything in place. All right, so with all that done, it's time to get some paint on here. And, I get a lot of guys asking me what type of spray I use. Now, this is just a gravity-fed sprayer. It's a Husky. I got it at my local big box store. I use these a lot. It seems to work the best for me, I use for wood, I use water-based paint, and for metal, I use oil-based paint. And I seem to get the best coverage with it. It works pretty good. Yeah, it cuts a lot of time off, that's for sure. I probably have a total of about 30 minutes of paint time right here with the cart itself and the wheels, and that's even putting a couple of coats on of each. You might see I've got some, it comes with a metal band around the wheel there, and I've got some painter's tape on there, and then once everything was done, I just peeled the tape off. And for the metal itself, this is just some polyurethane, just some matte, some flat or matte finish polyurethane. I use this a lot. I don't know if it's designed for metal, but a nice couple coats of this on the metal keeps it from rusting. I've never had any issues with it, and it doesn't give it a glossy finish. I mean, I don't like the glossy finish. You can get that finish, but this is a flat finish, a matte finish, and that's what I use to protect the metal on this build. All right, so assembly time right here. It's time to put everything together. One interesting thing right here is I haven't seen this in a long time. You see, these are square nuts. This is sent to me from the manufacturer, and I don't know if they're trying to replicate old school. Back in the early, 1900s, they used square nuts a lot for everything, and so I don't know if it's coincidental, but that's what they sent out. It's pretty cool. All right, and just put the wheels on, and a little keeper on the end right there to hold them in place. And there it is. That part of it's done, and it's time to get the metal structure put on it. I had my assistant wheel help me out right here. I couldn't do it by myself. It definitely is a two-man job, and once I got everything nice and square, nice and even, it's just a matter of drilling it and putting some lags in there. And I am using some 5/16 by 2-inch lag screws. And that's more than enough to hold this thing in place. Just pre-drill them and then just run them in there. And just like that, there it is, almost complete. I kind of like the way it is, but I just have to add one more feature. I thought this would be the finishing touches to a pretty good project right here, and that is to cut out on the plasma table the baby's name, Baby Shay. I thought that would be just a good, nice added feature to put on the very front. And to attach it to the front, all I'm doing is just drilling a couple of 3/16 holes in there with the dullest drill bit I have in my box, obviously. But nevertheless, I got the holes drilled out ultimately. Yeah, went over to the sharpener, sharpened it up a little bit. I was able to get through this. That drill bit went in the trash. But there it is. All right. Baby Shay, one thing about this white right here is I learned, man, your hands have to be clean. If you have one little bit of dirt on your hands, it's staying in that white. So you can see how careful I am holding everything in place and trying not to get any dark stains on that white paint. All right, well, there it is. Now it's done. It's complete. My part of the deal is complete anyway. This is what the customer was looking for. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this two-part series with me. It was fun making it. The customer was really happy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my website at JIMBO'sGarage.com. Follow us on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. See you guys next week.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.